Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie Brinkerhoff with Hair and Makeup by Steph, and today I'm going to be walking you guys through a classic low knotted bun. This look is really trending right now, and I want to show you guys some key techniques for recreating this style. So the first thing I'm going to do is wet this down a little bit, and then I'm going to build texture with 3 different products. Okay, so first I'm going to start with the Kenra Volume Mist 2 at her roots. So I really like this one because it gives a lot of volume, but it's also super lightweight. So I'm primarily focusing this on the roots, but then I'm going to work it down through the ends a little bit as well. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with some of the Kenra Thickening Mousse 12, and I'm just going to do this through her ends. And then lastly, I'm just going to go in with a thermal protectant, the Kenra Silkening Heat Cream. And I like to do this on the majority of my clients just to give them that little bit of extra thermal protection. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and get this blow dried in the hair. Okay, so we have a lot more volume and texture and grit at her roots now. And going row by row, we're going to get some product in here and get the hair loosely backcombed. Okay, so I'm going in with the Kenra Dry Volume Burst 3, getting that sprayed and worked into her roots. Then I'm going to loosely backcomb, nothing too tight or too crazy, just a little bit of backcombing in there. And then I'm going to mist the Kenra Volume Spray 25. Okay, so this is the process for each row as I work my way up the hair. And then I'm going to go in with my flat iron, and I'm not going to create a curl, but I am going to create just a really soft bend in the hair. So I'm taking my flat iron all the way up to the root, kind of on top of that back combing and that product. And I'm just creating like a really soft bend. So the main purpose of this is just to get the flat iron clear to the roots so that you're creating a little bit of separation at the scalp, a little bit of texture up there with your heat. Okay, I'm going to continue that process until I've done that all throughout the hair. Even a little bit more texture through the roots up here so that once we get this pulled back, she has some like interest and dimension going on through here, and it doesn't just look solid. So I'm going to go in with the Kenra Perfect Medium Spray 13, and I'm focusing this on the roots and sort of pulling that down through the ends. Okay, so once I have all of my texture in there, I'm going to get all of this in a low ponytail in the back. So I'm just loosely gathering all of this in the center back. So this is going to get tucked behind her ears, and I only want to leave out the hair that I want left out to frame her face, and everything else is going to get pulled back into the ponytail. So as you can see, I'm just leaving out a few hairs around her ear here, and these top pieces are getting pulled back and out of her face. But there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. It kind of just depends on the face shape and visually what you're going for. So if I was wanting to leave out some of these pieces up top, I could do that as well. The key here is definitely less is more. So I'm not doing any big chunks. I'm doing very thin pieces. Okay, so all of this is going in a ponytail in the low center back. Okay, I'm going to deconstruct the top with a little bit more product. Okay, now I have a little bit of the Kenra Platinum Working Wax on my fingers. And because her hair is more coarse, I want to go in with a thicker product like this to really create some definition and some separation in some of these pieces. So I just have this on my fingers and I'm just working this through a couple small sections. So I'm not necessarily creating more volume per se, I'm mostly just creating more definition. Okay, and then I'm just kind of roughing everything up with my fingers a little bit, making it look a little bit more lived in. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing right around her face. Still have a little bit of the pomade on my fingers. All right, so now we're ready to go ahead and start the chignon. So I'm going in with a little bit more of the Perfect Medium Spray 13. And I'm going to start by wrapping this underneath to fill in the bottom portion. So just like that. Okay, I'm just disheveling this a tiny bit. And I'm wrapping this fairly tight. I don't want this bun to be too big, so I'm wrapping it pretty close to the head. Okay, and then I'm gonna hold that there and then go ahead and get that pinned to the scalp. Okay, and then the tail end is just going to get wrapped loosely across the top. Okay, so then I'm just gonna get that bobby pinned in place. So when it comes to putting pins into this, I'm leaving them closed and I'm essentially just kind of weaving them into the hair and then pushing them in. So leaving them closed like that is going to help with hiding them so that you don't have a bunch of bobby pins sticking out everywhere. And since we had so much texture in her hair and at her roots already, these are just sliding right in and they feel very secure. So now with these ends, I'm just going to get them wrapped underneath and I'm going to tuck them and hide them. So I'm just kind of taking those, rolling them up, and we're gonna tuck them underneath like that. Okay, so before I move on, I want to check this from every angle. So if anything is feeling off balance, I can just go in and tuck a few places, add a couple pins to make sure everything is feeling balanced. Okay, then I'm just going in with the Kenra Volume Spray 25 and getting some of these flyaways. Okay, so at this point, if you want, you can dishevel the top a little bit more. Just depends on how lived in you want it to look. And then I'll go ahead and detail the pieces around her face and we will be good to go. Okay, and that completes our low knotted chignon. Okay, if you guys have any questions or any requests for other styles that you'd like to see, please leave a comment below. And if you'd like to see more looks from me, you can click on this video right here. Thank you so much for watching.